Hello. When you hop on, say hi. I have a few things I'm going to show you tonight. So when you hop on, say hi. Hi, Rosie. Welcome. I'll give it a couple minutes for everybody to catch up with us. Hi, Linda. Welcome. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. I thought I could get myself on my big TV, but I always have a hard time. I find it after I'm done, and that way I can see what you see. Oh, wait. This might be it. Let's try this one here. Yeah. Okay. I got it. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. I thought I could get myself. Well, they tore down the rest of the ceiling what they could, Rosie. And I just got the estimate, and I got to call my insurance company on Monday. So, um, it's still a mess, but they're managing upstairs pretty good. I just don't like it being, messed up for them up there, but we have to wait till we get to the insurance company on Monday with the estimate. So far nothing has been done, so we're just waiting. But thanks for asking, Rosie. Okay, we're gonna get started. I have a lot I'm gonna show you. My Monday live with what I was gonna do. And then, of course, Wednesday would be scrapbooking page. And then, Rosie, I know you don't do scrapbooking. Um, but then for yesterday, I was going to show you the new. Hi, Carol. Yeah, everybody's safe, Carol. Just waiting on now Monday so I can get a hold of the insurance company with the estimate. And then we go from there. So let's get started on the cards I would have done on Monday. I am using, well, let me show you. I'm using, that's for the scrapbook page, Blooming Phrases and Spotlight on Nature. And these are the cards that I did using the Blooming Phrases. And this is using that uh, wildly something DSP, uh, Wildly Flowers, I think it is. And they're just cut in four strips. Four strips, and then this is going over. I embossed. And this is just using this stamp set. It has those flowers. And then I just took one of the swirly line here and made my stems. And then this is another one using the strips of DSP and then the verse. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm using the beautiful gallery DSP on the paper. I'm using the impression floral, I think it is. Oh, thanks, Linda. There we go. Okay. These are the cards I showed you in the beginning. Sorry about that. These two is using strips. How about now, Carol? I just realized that you didn't see them. I forgot to flip my camera. But these are using 4 strips of paper and then a strip going across with the verbiage from Blooming Phrases. And this one here, Thinking of You, is actually in the stamp set. And so is the flower. And then what I did was I took this part of the verse and made my stems. And then I used the little leaf in there to put on the stems. Okay. So that is what I did with that so far. And then these cards, these 2 cards are using that new paper. And I do have it here somewhere. It's the floral, it's the impression gallery. I don't know what I did with my pack of paper. It's here somewhere. So we're gonna get you started with this. We're gonna use this one first. 8.5 by 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to score that in the middle at 4.25. Let me move you out a little. There you go. You'll be able to see more of what I'm doing. Okay. Then you need a piece, and this is Summer Splash, or nope, it's Shy Shamrock. 4 by 5.25. That is going to be our layer. Then the DSP is 3 3/4 by 5. That will go on top. So let's put them down. And this is a very simple card. Very easy to create multi samples, multi cards. You could do different verses. Happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Carol. Okay, and then I wrote hello there. And then I just put this on top and trimmed it so that it would give it the background there. Okay. This was just a scrap of piece of paper that I stamped on. And that's going to go pretty close to the edges because I kind of cut it too short, but it still gets the effect. And we're going to lay that at the top. And that'll go just like that. Okay, piece that goes on the inside, that'll go at the bottom. Card number 1, very simple. Card number 2. Card number 2 is like the 2 I showed you, these right here. Okay, with the strips, and I'll give you the sizes. Shy Shamrock, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. You need 2 pieces of basic white. One is, did I do that right? Yes. 4 by 5.25. that will go one here and one on the inside. So let's put this one on the inside. And we can put the other one that's 4 by 5 1/4 on the front, because the piece we're going to put on will go in the middle. Okay, set that aside. This piece here is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and you'll need 4 pieces of DSP, and these are 3/4 by 3, and they're going to lay here. Now the way I cut this, let me see if I can match it up. And then this one will go here. Nope. Huh. It would go like that. I guess it. Oh, wait a minute. I wanted to match it up. I should have put 1, 2, and 3 on the back. Okay, this is how it goes. 1, 2, 3, and this one will go on the bottom. Yeah, that, I just started making these, Carol, and I can see a class with this. It would be so easy to do a class. Okay, so we're going to glue these down. And we're going to just make them, eyeball them, put them on. And then this one. And then we have this one. And then this one will go in here with the saying. And I'm just going to use just because. Let me get my block. Lay that down. And I'm going to kind of catty corn it. Yeah, I don't like the way that looks. I use my photo Palmer stamps, and I put them catty corner on my. I don't have that DSP, Carol, yet. But I think we're okay with that. I'm going to get my Shamrock. And we're going to ink this up. And we're going to stamp. Oh, that looks pretty good. And that gets laid on there. But before we put that on, we're going to put on the center here. This will go in the middle of your paper or your card front. And then this gets glued down. And this goes to the end of the layer, just like so. Card number 2. Thanks, Carol. Okay, it's card number 2. Let's see what's next. Card number 3. We'll do this one. It's a fun fold. You open it this way and you open it that way. Okay. So what you do is you take, you take a piece of DSP. Let me open this. This is 5 1/4 by 4. Yes. And what I did was I cut from one corner to the other corner to give me my triangles. Okay. So with that being said, this piece I'm going to flip and use that side. This is using that wild leaf flower, I think, DSP. And this, I'm using this one for the crumb cake side. That'll go on the inside. This is going to go this way. This, I wanted to do, I didn't cut my card right, okay? I wanted to put it on this end, I didn't, so I'm flipping this and I'm going to use this side, okay? So what we're going to do, this would be 4 1/4 by 11. You're going to go into your 5 1/2 score mark, depending on where you want to cut from this fold, okay, at the 5 1/2, and you're going to put it on your trimmer. Let me show you. You're going to put your score, 5 1/2 score mark in that little valley there where your cutter goes through. And then you're going to bring your other one down here, and then you're going to cut. So in other words, if I wanted to cut this, I'm lining up that 5 1/2. I'm going to bring this in and make sure this point is in that little groove there. Okay. And that's in the groove. Then you're going to close it, take your cutter and go up, and then you would have your triangle. Okay. Hope I explained that okay for you. So let's put this down a while. Okay. Then this can go on. And so we'll put this down, make sure I get it in the corners here. And we're going to just lay that on there. And when you cut your DSP at 4 5 1/4, that'll give you your little bit of an edge. Okay. So that would be there. And you see how this is going to be folded different, where this opens up this way and this way, where it's going to open this way. You'll need a piece of coordinating cardstock. I'm using Early Espresso, which is the bottom of my card. That is 3 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Yeah, 4 1/4. Okay. That will go on the inside here, like so. So, before we put that down, you need 2 pieces of basic white, 2 3/4 by 4. So you need 2 of those. One will go on the inside. So we're going to put one in here. Okay. We're going to set that aside. We're going to stamp our flower from Spotlight on Nature. Oh, and we need thanks. Bring that in. Get our black memento. Ink this up. we're going to stamp that. I think so. Okay. We get our thanks. Put thanks. It's a little off, but that's okay. It's handmade. Now we're going to color. So I am going to use Old Olive, and I am going to use some, let me use Pretty in Pink this time. There's a little pink in here, so I'm going to use to bring out the pink on there. So we're just going to gently, quickly color these in. You could use your blends. You can use our watercolor pencils. And then you're just gonna go and do your leaves. Like so. Then I'm going to take the other end and I'm going to just kind of like go down over the stems to fill them in to give them the green look. Okay? That will go on the front of this card. Like so. And then we're going to bring this in. And this will get glued on here. Let's open this up. This will get folded over. And you want to put that in the middle of your papers. So that's about where I want it. So I'll open this up and make sure it's even. Okay? Then we're going to put glue on it. Okay? And then we're just going to lay this down again. Let's close this out. Yep. We got to make it straight. That's why I like the mono liquid glue. Gives you wiggle room to make sure things are straight. And there you have our card. Okay? This opens that way. And this opens this way. Alright, last card that I'm going to show you before I go to the page is this one. And it opens like this. And I don't know if you can see this, but the centerpiece is raised. Okay? I'm going to show you how I did that. I already went ahead and picked the one I wanted to do. I'm using the Cloud Clover, okay, for this paper. Got to get it right here. Nope, this goes over here. Right, this goes over here. All right, so what you're going to do, let me get the paper here, is pick a design. I'm going to just use this one that was on top, which is like that. To get this piece here, these strips are 1 inch by 3 7/8. Thanks, Linda. Okay. Um, so, oh, that goes on that side, this goes on this side. You want to make sure you get it the way the pattern flows. Okay. That's how I want it on my front of my card. So what I did is took a window sheet. Now this is from our Photo Palmer stamps. And I have to admit, I did see somebody online do this, and I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. She made a template. It's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. You're going to lay it on here and figure out where you want to cut your paper. Okay. I went almost, in fact, I went all the way to the end. Okay. So it depends on how much top you want of the sky or the bottom. So I went almost to the bottom. Okay. And what I did was I cut here. And when I cut here, that gave me my 5 1/8. Yeah. Okay. Then I took it off. Okay. Turned it. Wait, let me see here. Yeah. Wait, my puppy's going through the house. Not mine, it's my granddaughter's. Bring him here a minute. Here, I'll show you the new addition to upstairs. This is Milo. You're on camera. Look. You're on camera, look. Okay. Alright, back to my cards. So I cut it at 5 1/8. Okay. I just went and scored it 5 1/8. Then I turned it, and where this was is where I cut. I just put this on my trimmer. Let me show you. What I did was I laid this here, and I brought this up to where my cutter would be, and I would cut it. Okay. Take this away. Then I went this way and say I wanted to cut it there. I would line that up to the groove, close it, move this away, and cut it. Okay. Hi, Tina. Thanks, Carol. He is cute. He's part lab and a husky. So you get a 3 7/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. Or 5 1/8. Then you would take an inch off of each side. Okay. And then you have the center. This piece is 4 1/4. 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to put these two pieces on. Here. And this one. It's hard to see on top of that glass mat. Okay. I went ahead and put dimensionals on here. I want it to stand up pretty much. And then this gets laid. Line it up to the bottom. It will overlap a little of the pieces that you cut. And then you lay it to the front, or glue it to the front of your card. My card base is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. You could use a regular 4 or 5.5 by 8.5, and just glue it on for the landscape. Then I went ahead, and this was extra, so I am going to put that on this side here, or on the inside. And that's 3/4 by 4. So that would be my card. Now you could put a verbiage on here. I did not verbiage any of them. Okay. Um, but yeah, I kind of like this card, the way it was made. Now, if you didn't want to do it this way, you could take a piece of cardstock, cut it, and double it, and then have this as a flap and open it that way for a fun fold. Okay? All right, that's all the cards I would have showed you Monday. I'll bring them back again. Now on to my Wednesday, which is my scrapbooking Wednesday. This is a fairly quick scrapbook page. Next Wednesday, I have a 2-page spread I'm going to show you. This is using the Meant to Be scrapbook kit, papers that were left over. And I'm using Everyday Arches for my popsicles. I use a retired punch to curve my squares. So we're going to go ahead and, oh, excuse me, get busy. Because I have a new embossing folder. I want to show you some cards that I did with it and show you how I got to that point. Okay, this piece, 12 by 12, basic white. Okay, this piece is 12 by 1.5. That'll get laid there. So we're just going to go ahead and put it down. Usually I just lay everything down and show you how it is. But I am gonna, this is gonna go right up to the edge of the paper, top, bottom, and side. Okay, this is another piece, and this is a 1" by 12. And that's gonna get butted right up against that other piece. Like so. Then I took some Petunia Pop ribbon. Oh, thanks, Carol. Glad you made it. Have fun. I'm gonna lay this Petunia Pop ribbon, and I'm just gonna flip it over, and I am gonna use some tearing tape. You could use Scotch tape, but I don't see my dispenser. So what I'm gonna do is just tear off a piece of tear tape. I'm gonna flip this over, and I'm gonna just lay this on, but I'm not gonna take the top off. Same way with here. And just lay that on there. Okay? And then you can straighten that up. Then I got another piece I'm gonna just tie. I don't think I can do a bow. That's too little for me. My fingers are too big. But I'll give it a shot. Let me try it this way. I should have made it before I came on tonight. My fingers are too big for this. Oh, that's kind of a bow. There we go. All right, that's good enough. I don't want to hold you up for me trying to make a bow. I went ahead and I made, should be another popsicle in here. This one's going to go here. Oh, there it is. They're going to get laid here. And all I did was, they're going to get cut at the bottom. Everyday Arches. I used the second one from the center, okay, for these. And then for this one, I used the third one. And I just cut a strip of paper, pecan pie, for the popsicle sticks. But they go on last because I got to put these together. I did 9 squares. Okay, 9 squares. Okay, they are 2.5-inch squares, and the DSP is 2.25-inch square. I'm going to glue all these down, and then I'll place them where I want them. So, and I just used a corner punch that is retired that we carried. So these are 2.25-inch square is the layers, and the square itself is 2.5-inch square. And I rounded all 4 corners on them. And this paper, like I said, is meant to be from the scrapbooking kit. You could use this as a sampler too. It's up to you. I found an old scrapbook page that I did, and it was laid out like this, and it was for a birthday. And I thought, why not update it with our new product? I knew tonight would be a little longer than normal. And I know not everybody likes scrapbook, that they don't like. It's not that they don't like scrapbook, if they don't do scrapbooking. I understand that. But you could take the ideas from scrapbooking and make some cards, sort of like the same layouts. Okay, got them all done. So, got 1, we got 2, then we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we're going to lay these up here. And this is, like I said, it's going to go there. And then these 3 are going to go down here. And then I'm going to stamp happy birthday from with you in mind. I'm going to get that out a while so I don't forget. I will stamp that last. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead. Put these here. I'm going to go ahead and start gluing my squares down. And like I said, you can use this as a sampler too. Um, you can even add pictures on top of the DSP. I do not scrapbook with pictures. I wait till I'm done, and then I find pictures that I like that go in there. I've gotten asked so many times how can I scrapbook without pictures? Once you get this started, it doesn't take long to glue everything together. And what I do is I hold it up, looks good, then I make sure everything's pressed down. Like I said, this gets popped up here. So what I'm going to do is put this on dimensionals. Get some here. And then I'll glue these other ones down and stamp happy birthday. So this is going to go, I'm going to kind of put it, offset the ribbon. I want it about the same amount on each side here. Okay. Okay, so we're going to put these down with glue. Let me see how far I want them. And this is going to go here. This one. And this one. Now before I stamp, I'll flip it over. Yes, the pictures can go on the white one, Tina. Cut them off. Whoops. Get Petunia Pop. Ink our stamp up. And we're going to put happy birthday right there. Good. Now if you want to go one step further, take your Wink Stella, and you can just put some on your, I think I need to get a new one out, on your popsicles to make them shine a little. There we go. You probably won't be able to see this in the camera because I'm just going over. I squeezed more down. It had some in yet. Whoop, I didn't want that much. I got too much. Let me see. I don't have a paper towel, do I? Hold on a minute. See if I have something here. I can wipe that up quick. Here we go. Now, that has glitter on it. But there's my page for tonight. I don't like that. I'll have to make another one put on top of it. But I have on here the Wink of Stella. You can't, there you go, on that green one you can see. But that is my page that I was going to show you on Wednesday. Okay? So now comes what I was going to do last night. So let me get this out of the way because it is our new embossing folder. The Sunflower 3D embossing folder. This embossing folder is 8.5 by 6. So you take a 8.5 by 6 piece of cardstock and you put it in here and you run it through and you get this. Okay, so I have two here that I already have, but I'm going to show you what I did and I'll show you the cards I made. But I don't have any cards ready to make for you tonight. I'm just going to show you how I got, it's called, I think, Black Magic. Get my paper here. This is messy. I will tell you that now. Thanks, Tina. Okay, this is the raised part. Okay, I'm going to flip it and use it the debossing side, I guess you would call it, or the negative side. I'm going to work on that side. Now, if you want, take your Memento Black and you can just go over it with your black ink pad. And depending on how dark you want it to be in between your flowers is going to determine how dark, how you're going to use your black ink pad. I'm going to flip this over and finish this side. The more ink you put on and rub over for trying to get that dark, you're going to get into your flower and your leaves. But this is what they call Black Magic. Okay? So, what I did was, where it wasn't dark, I took our black Stampin' Right marker and I just went in and went around the flowers and I just made my darker the whole way around. Okay? That being said, I'll show you the first cards I did using that. I took Lemon Lolly and Crumb Cake, and I took the Lemon Lolly and I did the circles, the centers of the flowers, Okay, I just colored them in like so. And then I took the crumb cake and I did the centers here. So I did that on all the four. Thanks, Tina. All the four that had three that had the centers like that. And then this one here that is not open the whole way, I just did this as the centers. I just took the crumb cake and went and did the centers. I think I just called it a petal. I did. Okay, and then I took lemon lime twist and I did the leaves. And I did all the leaves in the green. I did all the centers and left everything else white. Okay, let me finish this one, and then I'm going to show you the cards that I did with this. What I did was, before I go any further, I wanted to make cards with this. So this is a 6 by 8.5. Okay, so I cut down at 3 inches, and then I cut them at 4.25. Okay, that gave me 4 sections. This is what I came up with, my cards. And they all open up this way. There's 1, there's 2. These using 4.25 by 11-inch card, or 11-inch, and it's scored at 5.5. That is my first go as far as that. Lemon Lolly, and I put 2 strips of black behind Lemon Lolly. Now, you can stamp a verbiage here if you want, or you can go in here and stamp your verbiage and then write your greeting. But that is what I did using Black Magic like this. Okay? So then I thought, okay, if I didn't want black, let me put this over here. If I didn't want black, how about a ink color? Okay, let me put these away. So I thought, well, I used a Zur Afternoon, and I did cards with those, and I'm going to show you them. These are the cards, and I made them vertical, like this. Okay, and I used Darling Duckling, yellow, and Azure Afternoon. So these are my second set, and it's using regular ink pad. Regular ink pads are a lot juicier than Memento Black, just so you know. This here, I went over a leaf that was actually blue. It was actually but it covers a lot better, but it's really juicy. That's why you see a lot more blue in the flowers. Okay? That was my second set. So I'm going to bring this one in. I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to use another ink pad. And I'm going to use, how about Fresh Freesia? A light purple. And all you're going to do, very easy, is just run across. I'm not pressing it all real hard. Because once you press hard, it's going to hit, and it's going to hit and cover all your uh, flowers because it's so juicy. The ink pads are a lot juicier than Memento Black. Okay, so that is Fresh Freesia. And once again, if you want it darker, where it didn't get dark, you can use your markers, okay? So I'm going to bring in, and then if you want, you can color the flowers in, cut it down like I said. I would suggest cutting your paper at 8¼ by 6. For the same reason, you get, when you do it, you get a kind of like a border, a real thin border around. You could even go down maybe 1/8, make it 5 7/8 instead of 6, and 8¼ instead of 8½. And you won't, all you would get then would be right where the flowers and the leaves are. You will not get that thin line here, okay? So that is with fresh freesia. I will make cards out of these and post them when I lack them now. Here lately I haven't been putting anything on my Facebook page. Alright, so I'm going to show you what I was playing with. This one here, I use my watercolor crayons. I colored all that in, my flower and the leaves and the centers, and then I used my blending brush and blended it in, and then I went over with the black. When you do that, you don't see all the detail here. It's all solid until you run the ink pad over it, okay? So that's your watercolor markers. This one is regular markers. This one is crushed curry and granny apple green, okay? This, and crumb cake. This is actually done after I did the black, before I did the black. I colored the flowers in. My advice is, if you, whatever color you're going to use, do it first. You can see where all your petals in that are. It will not hurt your markers or anything like that, but you'll be able to see where you're coloring your flowers and your leaves, okay? Now this one I think is my favorite. This is using blends, and I colored the 4 big flowers, left these white. This is Calypso Coral. This is Fresh Freesia, Misty Moonlight, and this is Old Olive, I think, in blends. And I went over in black, but I used my marker, my Stampin' Write marker, and filled in to make it real dark, okay? So I was thinking, and my sister Linda said that would be cool to make a framed art. So I was looking, I didn't have anything that was quite as big as, or small. So I found this cork board, and I just laid it on here. Okay, you could put it this way too. Okay. And I thought, well, let me cut a piece of white and a piece of fresh freesia, and then lay this on. And I thought, well, you could put it all the way down here and then have verbiage here. You could write smile, joy, whatever, and you'd have your frame art. And if you wanted to put something over it, take a window sheet and put over it. They have acetate that you can use for your printer. You can cut that down and put over that. But yeah, this I think is my favorite, and I think it's because it's different color, and it's, I don't know, it just pops more, I think, because I have more color, I guess, in it. So that is using the 3D Sunflower Embossing Folder, which is new. It's online exclusive, and it started July 1st. And as far as I know, it's still in stock. I didn't check it to see if it's back ordered, but you can tell. I can tell you right now, it's going to go fast. Okay, that is all I have for you. That is my Monday, Wednesday, and this would have been Friday. I'm going to lay that here. I'm going to bring in the cards here so you can see. And then what I did with these. Okay. And then my scrapbook page here. Can't see it here. But that is a whole week's worth of samples. Yeah, it does. And I knew it just pops more, I guess. Yeah, more depth. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming. I appreciate it. I will be back hopefully Monday. It depends. I got to talk to the insurance company about my ceiling. I will let you know, either put a message on Facebook or and YouTube so you guys know if I'm going to be on Monday. Okay. Have a great rest of the weekend. I'll see you back here hopefully.